On Point Live. Welcome to the show. I'm Michael Horn, the star of our show. Well, stars, actually. Mr. Vince Ferragamo, Mr. Jackie Slater. Former Rams, former great football players, and now incredible handicappers and outstanding commentators on the world of sports, especially football. Am I right, Vince? Am I right, Jackie?
Yeah, I think you are.
If you like fantasy football, right, Jackie? We're okay.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Big week last week. A lot of people lost. A lot of people won. The Harbaugh Bowl was it's going to be it's tough. Yeah.
Both home teams didn't come up victorious. Jackie, they both lost. I mean, Jim Harbaugh lost again to his brother John, and so that was a tough game.
How many times is that? Is that three times?
Three times in a row.
What's that Thanksgiving table like there, Jackie?
Give him another year, man. He's got to do something to that roster. You got a few more guys he need to bring in there, especially on the defensive side.
But don't you see that whole culture changing around though, Jackie? I mean, the
no
Chargers.
Doubt about
I mean, in most games in the past, they would have got blown out of that game. They were in that game right to the end.
They were in the game right to the end. And I really like the way Harbaugh he motivates his team.
Yes. Which one?
I'm talking about the young one.
I'm talking about the younger one.
Jim.
I mean, his team. He makes his quarterbacks and all of the people in his charge. He makes those people feel like they're the best in the business.
So John's 3-0.
Best in the business.
Yeah, he does. His quarterback, he says, is the greatest quarterback he ever had.
He's ever coached. He's ever coached.
So we got to get Quentin Johnston. We got to get Quentin Johnston catching the ball. Though,
how many drops did he
have? How are you going to do that?
But before that, he was catching touchdowns.
Vince,
that's what I was going to.
After the first
that's
drop,
my man.
I thought about you, Vince. Yeah. And after the second drop, I thought about you. After the third drop, I wanted to call you and say, hey, Vince, you said this guy was going to be special.
He's going to be all right. Don't worry about it. He'll be all right.
It's the quarterback always is wondering who's going to catch the ball. It's going to be the deal. So that's good. Anyway, so we also talk a little bit, if you go and you're looking at the Harbaugh boys, you sit there, John's the winner, but Jim's the younger one. So that's what you say. I'm the younger. I'm
that's right.
Coming up the ladder.
And the Rams just got trampled, didn't they, by the Eagles? We'll have to talk about that some.
Well, I mean, that was a very difficult pill to swallow because the Rams have really improved over the last few weeks. Start the season with that young, inexperienced front, with Kobe Turner being the veteran of the group and only in his second year. We saw a lot of inconsistencies in the way they ran the ball, a lot of inconsistencies in the way they stopped the run, the way they got after the rusher, and now they're turning around a little bit.
We got a lot to talk about. I'm telling you, coming up here. Stay with us. We are back on Point Live. Vince Ferragamo, Jackie Slater. Just doing what they do best, talking football and talking cheese. Now, I didn't know this about these guys, but before I joined the show, apparently there's a big tradition, a history here. Vince Ferragamo played 1 year in Green Bay, and you played 1 year in Green Bay and apparently came away with not only some good football knowledge from your coach at the time, a gentleman named Vince Lombardi, but
that's right.
I
met one of the most important guys there, though.
Yeah, who was the Jackie?
My good friend is Jerry Haines with Harmony Cheese, Jackie, and he's produces some of the best cheese in all of Wisconsin.
Don't
cheese
go
is king.
Don't go saying like Jackie, like you're introducing Jackie to cheese for the first time.
He knows it more than I do.
You guys are cheesemongers. Let's bring on Jerry Haines. Jerry Haines, our buddy here on the show. He is not only our supporter here in this whole effort, but he's the owner, the president of Harmony Cheese and Dairyland Trading Company, and he works with the leading cheese manufacturers to bring all of us great cheese, not only all year long, but especially for the holidays. Jerry, welcome to On Point Live.
Thank you very much for having me on.
All right, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
I got
to very
start
quick. I know. I got to work on that.
That's all right, Jerry.
So.
Jerry,
Vince has got some questions. So does Jackie.
Well, Jerry's a big NFL fan and a big Packer fan, obviously from Wisconsin, in De Pere, Wisconsin. But we're looking at the game last week, Jerry, and we saw the Packers just demoralize the 49ers. And you have season tickets. Were you at that game?
I was not. I was not. I will be at tomorrow's Thursday night's game for the Miami Dolphins, but right. I was not there. I brought some customers into town that came in from actually San Francisco to see the game.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the turnout was better for us than them.
Yeah, big football fans there in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Great Dairyland area. That's why it's Dairyland cheese. It's the dairy capital there. How do people get your cheese, Jerry? You guys have been doing this. This company has been around. It started out, I guess, as the Dvorak plant. Am I right? Some Czechs had it, Harmony Cheese, back in 1927. And what happened from that point on until you were able to grab it?
Well, yes, that's a very good point. Actually, cheese has kind of materialized over the years. Obviously, you guys know this. But the plant has been built in 1927. We bought it about 2.5 years ago from a gentleman that had it, just a farmer that had it, and he took his milk and he made it there. And we wanted to keep the one thing that was very unique about this plant was it's very artisan-style cheese that is kind of made the old traditional way. And what I mean by that, it's not like all equipment. It's really hands-on, got that little artisan flavor. The milk comes in locally from local farms. Kind of the whole thing has not really changed for 50 years, how we make cheese.
Well, you got
out of that.
Great cheeses there. You got whole milk, mozzarella, cheddar, Gouda, portobello, Merlot, cranberry, blueberry, and then you got these golden age cheeses, which we're going to get into here in just a little second. But people can go online. Is it harmonycheese.com? Is that the website?
Yes.
Harmony, Harmony Cheese, HARMONY cheese.com. Now, these two guys here, Vince and Jackie especially, was complaining because Vince got some cheese sent to him from you guys.
Everybody got the cheese ahead of me, and they were talking about the good cheese and the this and the that and the other, and they mentioned the word Abergele, and I'm thinking, okay, what is Abergele? Is that the way they shipped it out here?
You like that?
As it turned out, Abergele, I got it in my refrigerator at home. You guys finally sent me some. And I tasted Abergele, and I'm thinking, this is the best cheese I've ever had in my life.
He can actually say the cheese.
I've never had this before.
Jerry, you got to see this video that Jackie shot
He put together
in his home when in the refrigerator. He's got all your cheeses stacked in the refrigerator, going through them all.
In the order in which I plan to eat them.
Oh, maybe we can see
Wait,
Can
hold on a second.
that?
Wait one second. You have them in your refrigerator in the order you're going to eat them?
In the order in which I plan.
Who's in first place right now?
Right now, the Abergele.
Abergele, because you can say it. Okay, so you're not going to be able to see this, but you'll be able to hear this, as we have it. But we're going to play it for our fans so you can take a listen. This is Jackie's. It looked like a store to me, but it's actually Jackie's refrigerator. The way he's got to lay it. Corey, play it for us.
And for me, that means Harmony Cheese. And since I've already started on the Abergele, I think I'll just polish this off.
Oh, that's funny. That's
Great
funny.
video. We're going to post that for you radio listeners. It's going to be on our website. It's onpointlive.net. So you can check that out. And you can watch it on our YouTube channel, On Point Live with Vince and Jackie, and you can subscribe to that as well, too. So you actually got to.
Hey, man, listen, that is some really good cheese. I'm telling you, I've never, it's the texture of it, the taste. I mean, you can put it with, what I like to do is take those, the Nabisco vanilla crackers,
Yes.
cookies, and then put it on top of that and sandwich it up real good.
So you make sandwiches out of it?
Yeah, cookie sandwich. You
there
put
are so
between
many,
two vanilla wafers.
There are so many varietals, though, that they have in this cheese market.
Oh, this is the wine guy.
It is
This guy's-
holiday. It's holiday time.
One
now.
of the-
Yeah,
so
it is.
appetizer board. Let's ask Jerry a question.
Yes.
Since I'm in the wine business, Mike,
You
you
are.
know about the wines.
Yeah.
Jerry, what kind of cheese do we pair with the wine? What would you suggest?
Okay, well, that's funny you brought that up while you guys were talking about it. These cheeses were kind of set up to go with wine, mainly reds, obviously, the Abergele, Jack, it does go with very, very much with a good glass of bold red wine. And these cheeses are kind of European based a little bit. We kind of went on the European style, and we make them at our facility, and that's why you kind of have a little bit different, not your traditional cheddar, in which we make the traditional cheddar, Colby, and all these other products. But these specific cheeses were made for exactly wine pairings as well as charcuterie boards, and the flavors are phenomenal. That's one of the reasons I got into it. I'm a licensed cheese grater, and let me explain that to the fans who've never heard about this, is you're not actually grating cheese, but I'm actually testing and tasting cheese, and it gets graded. And I used to go to contests all the time. I'd be one of the judges that would judge the cheese. And that's what attracted me to this plant and these cheeses. It was some of the best cheese that was made. And obviously Wisconsin makes some of the best cheese. It's all because of our farming, our cows, and everything that we have here. But that's what really drove me into these styles of cheese that we do, because we see a growing trend with wine and cheese and other items that we want to do with our cheese. And that is why we really, really wanted to have something unique that nobody else has, and kind of its own niche, its own little flavors.
You've done it, and these, as we mentioned before, the Golden Age cheese varieties, the Merlot-infused white cheddar, the double Gloucester traditional, all these great cheeses, the Abergele traditional, Jackie, that you like.
Yeah.
And do you have any cheese hats that we could maybe get to the guys here so they could wear it during the show? Abergele across it.
There you go.
Do you have anything like that?
You know what? We're going to send you. I think I have a picture. So Vince was here a few years ago, and I think we got Vince in a cheese hat.
I would love to see that. Jackie and I would pay to see that.
What I want to hear, did he say that he was in a cheese grading competition?
Yeah, they grade cheese, and there's awards for the best cheese. And your guys come out on top all the time. Am I right about that, Jerry?
Yeah, we come in. Well, we at least come in the top 5, and we're actually getting more and more cheese out there. We're always in top 5, and like I said, it is so competitive in Wisconsin with all their cheeses, and they all do a great job. And this is maybe something that nobody else knows is Wisconsin. You got to be a licensed cheese maker, so you got to actually have a license to actually make cheese in Wisconsin. It's the only state that makes it. Then we also have master cheese makers, which takes years to develop. So it's
all right. How do we
tradition.
get the cheese, Jerry? Give us the website, because you've got all sorts of holiday packaging and more. So where do we go to get the cheese
so
for
you go to
Christmas gifts?
Yeah, HarmonyCheese.com, and right on there you can order exactly what you need, and there's a little code that you can punch in, and we'll ship it right to your house.
Yeah, and we get it's at markets around the country as well, but we can go online and get it at HarmonyCheese.com and order up our holiday gift ideas. This is good stuff over there. HarmonyCheese.com, HarmonyCheese.com. Hey, Jerry, thanks so much for being a part of the show. Thanks for getting us some cheese. Jackie's out, and Vince and I would like some more as well.
Good talking to you, Jerry.
We'll continue.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Thanks for being with us. On Point Live continues. We'll get into some football, but we got to take a break. We got to have some wine and cheese. So take a quick break. We'll be back. Thanks for joining us. The show is On Point Live with Vince Ferragamo and Jackie Slater. I'm Michael Horn, but so many great segments, so many games to talk about, so many games coming up. We'll help out maybe some of you that are in some fantasy football leagues with some thoughts. But right now, this is our What in the World segment that we've got going on. Jackie Slater, what in the world?
What in the world is going on? Well, you guys know, me now. I love the running game.
Yes, you do.
I think it's a great neutralizer when it comes to quietening all of these explosive pass rushes down. And when I think about the team that I played with for a couple of decades, I think about the Rams. They started this season with some young, talented guys, first and second year guys in their defensive front. Led by Kobe Turner, who's only in his second year. But you got guys like Bobby Brown and Jared Verse and Hoach and Braden Fisk. These guys are talented young people, and they did a good job. They do a good job of kind of rushing the pass. Early in the season, they struggled with stopping the run, and they struggled with getting to the quarterback. And getting to the quarterback nowadays, it seems to be a priority. You see what they're doing with Michael Parsons down in Dallas and all that. So they come here and they play the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles totally destroyed them on the ground. Totally destroyed them on the ground, which I have already told you, Vince, that in my opinion, we're going to see a resurgence of the running game. I've told you that, right?
Yes.
I believe that's going to happen.
happen.
But to see what Saquon Barkley did to the Rams, to me, I think we got to figure out another package. They got a package called the Cheetah. the cheetah package.
What in the world is that?
What in the world is it?
Well, the cheetah package is their pass rush scheme, and it features a bunch of undersized, not undersized, but linebacker type bodies. No big bodies, no Bobby Brown III bodies in there. And so what teams are going to do, and I predict this, they're going to walk to the line of scrimmage and they're going to put a 320-pound man in front of these guys and knock them off the football, and we're going to see more Saquon Barkley type results based on the fact that they're going to be outmanned. A 320, a 30, 40-pound man is going to knock a 240-pound, 60-pound man off the ball every single time.
That's
I don't care where you're playing football.
That's a what in the world.
So the what in the world is, can we please put Bobby Brown III on the field and somebody like him at 320-plus pounds?
So you know what the quarterback does, Michael? He walks up the line, check with me, right? And he sees this line, the way they're playing, the alignment, and they're just going to check to runs. And that's why you see the resurgence of all these great running backs that were let go in free agency. I can't not believe, Jackie, that you had guys like Derrick Henry.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, free agent, running crazy for the Ravens. How about Saquon Barkley, rushed for 275 yards, over 300 yards rushing against the Rams? You can't win any games that way. What about
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs that goes to the Packers from the Raiders, and the Raiders now are struggling.
Where did this
the
all
Giants
start?
are struggling. The Giants are the worst team in the NFL.
Well, a couple of years ago, a few years back, there was some conversations by someone, I can't remember who it was, that made the running back position seem like it wasn't valued anymore in today's football.
Sean McVay said, I'd never pay a running back again after the Todd Gurley exercise.
In the Super Bowl, right?
So what a degrading
what does he mean by the
issue.
Todd Gurley exercise?
Because Todd Gurley was rushing like crazy. He
Yeah.
got hurt at the end. Then he
was
went
one
up
of
for
the best.
renegotiate his contract. He was re-signed, but then was played limited thereafter. But, in the passing game, you can't forget the running back. He's vital. You look at the teams of past years, the greatest show on turf.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You had perhaps one of the best running backs. It was versatile. He could catch. He could run the ball.
In fact, he's talking about Marshall Faulk.
Yes.
And I told Marshall Faulk, I said, Marshall, I said, I love you. I like your game. I said, but I'm not a little back man. I like big backs. I like guys you can give it to 30 times a game. And he said, Jackie, he said, what do you want? He said, do you want to give a guy the ball 30 times a game and get 150 yards? Or do you want to give it to him half the time and give it to him the other half in the air and let him hurt you that way? And I said, well, I'm used to the big guys. Well, he said, I had 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards rushing in the same season.
There you
and
go.
if you talk to Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, those two great receivers that were with the Rams, they'll tell you that the thing that drove their offense was Marshall Faulk and his versatility.
So, Michael, when we look at the NFL today, and you look at the teams that are thriving and playing so well, you see the Detroit Lions, and they're power rated number one team in the NFL. You look at the Ravens, a high rushing team. You look at the 49ers, what they used to be, not anymore right now. But you look at the Bills, they're running the football. I mean, these guys in the Philadelphia Eagles, they're all right up at the top, and it opens up the entire offense. So it's sustainable. It's like if I have a lead and I want to keep the lead, we run the football, run the clock out.
Well,
if you
but-
can't run the ball, your opponent's going to catch it.
But it changes the philosophy, as you guys have been talking about for the last couple of years. They were saying, I remember a couple of years ago, well, the running backs aren't going to get the money they think they deserve, and they started not paying as much for the running backs. And then you had the announcers on the game talking about that. And now look at this year. It's like you couldn't do it with what you have if you don't have a running game in the NFL these days.
Can I give you one more
believe the Giants-
illustration,
How about the
Jackie?
Giants, man?
The
Can you
Giants.
believe the Giants
Well,
let
let's-
Saquon Barkley walk out of there?
Yes.
What in the world is
well,
going
not
on?
only him, but Williams and also now
Josh
Daniel
Jacobs
Jones.
from the Raiders. These
Yes.
guys are legitimate
But-
first big-time running backs.
Let's reflect real quick on college football. Look what Vanderbilt was able to do this year. They beat the number one team in Alabama early in the season because they could run the football. They had a quarterback could throw very limited passes. They ran the option. Remember the old wishbone option, Jackie? People forgot how to defend it. And so when they went up against Alabama, the top team, they were rushing the ball. They kept the ball away from them, and they controlled the game. They win the game. So as Jackie mentioned, it is evolving, but it's the basic fundamental prospects of football is to be offensive line, defensive line, you have to put the strength of your team in those positions.
You guys played together on the Rams, and Jackie, you mentioned 2 decades on that team. Vince, you were there for a long time as well. It's a 50-50 part of this game. You got to keep the other team guessing as to what you're going to do, and if you can do that, that's half the battle when you get there at the line of scrimmage. You don't know what's coming next.
Absolutely, you have to keep them guessing. There's no doubt about that. But they have to know
that you got the game.
That you do the physical parts of the game.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things. I looked at the offensive line that Philadelphia featured against them. They got 2 guys over 360 pounds. And I watched Byron Young and Fish and Hoach coming in and early in the ball game laying down some big-time bull rush moves, blasting those big guys, knocking them back. But, I mean, you blast 360 pounds once and knock him back, you probably not going to do that 3 or 4 times in a row. Eventually, you're just going to disappear. And that's exactly what happened. All the bull rushing left. There was no finesse rushes going on. That's what they did. That didn't have any impact. And those guys put their hand on the ground and just systematically walked those 240-pound guys off the
That's what in the world.
Off the line of scrimmage.
Hey, how about my take, though? How about I'd rather be lucky than good.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely. You want to hear about this now?
Let's hear this now.
Okay, here. Did you watch the Commanders and the Cowboys play?
Yes.
The Cowboys have been beaten up all year, but they were lucky this day. The Commanders, they go down the field, Jackie, 20 seconds left. Jaden Daniels throws a deep ball to McLaren. He runs 85 yards uncontested for a touchdown. How does that happen? Then they line up for a PAT, Jackie, to tie it to go to overtime. He missed the PAT.
Too much Gatorade.
Is that what it is?
Way too much
Gatorade. Here's a team, the first time in the history, that missed 2 PATs, had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns and a block punt. And they still lost the game.
Yeah.
They lost the game.
You'd rather be lucky.
I mean, I'd rather be lucky. I'd rather be the Cowboys in that game.
Those kickers. You see, now you know why guys punching the kickers on the sideline.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, man.
Cowboys are now America's team again this week, going in big time, huh?
Hey, they had a chance. You're never out.
You are never out. I'm telling you. The game is crazy. How do you handicap games like that? I mean, how do you handicap those games? Something like that, you can't tell a guy's going to miss this kick or get this kick or run down the field and almost turn the game around.
They have a 400 yards total offense. The Commanders did still lose it.
Yeah.
So, how about the Texans? What's the other one? The Texans played the Titans, Jackie.
Oh, yeah. The Titans.
Come on, Jackie, and you mentioned how many times turnovers, who wins the turnover battle is going to win the game. They lost that. They had more turnovers. Right. They had 8 sacks. They sacked the quarterback 8 sacks.
That's another indicator. You give
and
up,
they still lost, the Texans.
Absolutely. That was an aberration to have all of those stats favor you losing the ball game, and then you turn around and win it. That was just an aberration. We don't see that.
An aberration or an abergelli?
Abergelli is pretty good if you're watching that.
And negative plays will kill you. You gotta have more positive plays.
Yeah, so you got to be ready to go at all times with it. But it was a very interesting week. Now, we're going to look ahead in just a little bit here onto games coming up on Sunday. And, sometimes you get lucky when you've got your fantasy football league. Your guy does well, your team does okay. And sometimes you're not, so it depends what you got going here on this thing.
Well, if you're a fantasy football player and you have Jamar Gibbs on your team, boy, I tell you what, you got a shoe in this weekend because the Bears play the Lions in Michigan.
In Michigan.
Okay, so
Detroit.
Jamar Gibbs, this team, the Bears are giving up 130 yards, Jackie, on the ground every game. And their front runner, they're giving up over 80 yards. Well, Jamar Gibbs is rushing for almost 80 yards a game. So if you got him on your lineup, you're gonna score point after point.
You're saying you could get a good shot here. You'd rather be lucky on this one, right?
Wow.
Is that what you're saying?
You don't have to. Well, hey, it's just gonna happen. I can tell you that right now.
And another reason why it's going to happen is because they have a quarterback that in 4 different games have thrown more touchdowns than he has incompletions.
So the ball's in the end zone more, it's on the ground.
Absolutely.
And so we want to remind everybody, follow us, by the way, on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it, Onpoint Live with Vince and Jackie. And check us out on our website, onpointlive.net. Also, follow us on Instagram, on.point.live is our Instagram handle there. You can get to it. You can check it all out at crntalk.com. That's our syndicator, CRN Talk. and on the YouTube channel as well, too. We'll take a break, come back with more. Vince Ferragamo, Jackie Slater, On Point Live. Thanks for joining us. We are back on Point Live. I'm Michael Horn. The stars of our show, Vince Ferragamo, Jackie Slater. You can follow us on our Instagram channel, on.point.live. Also, check out our website, onpointlive.net, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can see all these shows that we do. If you're listening on radio, in person, you can see how great these guys look. They wear their football uniforms in to the studio sometimes. Sometimes they're dressed in nice suits as well, too, for you. Subscribe to On Point Live with Vince and Jackie, and brought to you by HarmonyCheese.com. Now, Jackie, you got some interesting stats about some teams here, because we're going to kind of look ahead to some Sunday games.
It's not so much interesting stats.
I find it interesting.
You know what it is? The thing that I've come to realize is that there are so many more sophisticated football fans out there now than you would ever imagine. These people, they pay attention to details about our game that a lot of us players never paid much attention to. If you were to ask the average person that plays in a fantasy football league, what are the likelihoods of his team winning and losing, they could spit out stats at you to indicate to you that they know exactly what's going on with their teams and with the game of professional football. But these are some things that I want to just share, because I think they're critical, and I think a lot of people know them, but a lot of people don't. When a team loses the turnover battle, they have a 70% chance of losing that game.
Makes sense.
It does. And when a team makes 3 sacks, we talk about sacks a lot in the passing league like it is now. When a team takes 3 sacks, they have a 60% chance of losing that game. Okay. And then last, when a team allows 27 points, 27 points is a lot of points, but when a team allows 27 points, 75% of chance they're going to lose that game. So when you look at these things, I think for a lot of football fans who really enjoy the game, who are enthusiastic, who really paying attention, this information is intriguing. I know it was for me when I found out about it.
I found out, and I'll add to that for you too, when a team doesn't give up any points at all, they have an over 90% chance of winning that game. I just thought I'd toss that out, because I'm learning from you guys. I'm learning.
Very true indeed. I need to add that to this list.
Yeah, put that on there, because I think that needs to be.
Good stat.
That's good. Okay, Vince Ferragamo, let's talk to you a little bit. We got some games coming up here. Let's start here, the Sunday lineup here. Eagles and Ravens. That's going to be maybe the best game of the week, I think. That's going to be a good one.
Well, that's the matchup of two of the best rushing teams in the NFL this season, and I think I really love the way the Philadelphia is playing the game. Nick Sirianni is doing a great job motivating his players. They had a slow start this year. They're coming on very strong right now, and defensively they're playing. But they have what it really takes to run the football: a strong offensive line and a strong defensive line to stop the run. So they're ranked high in the NFL with those two statistics. As Jackie said, if you can do those things well, you can actually win the game. You have a better chance of winning. So that's going to be a great game. That matchup for those two teams.
What do you think, Jackie? Eagles 9-2, Ravens are 8-4.
It never ceases to amaze me how Vince could sit here and talk about this and not mention the fact that, they do have a good offensive line, but they feature 2 guys on their offensive line that weigh over 380 pounds.
Getting back to what you said earlier.
380 pounds. Can you imagine what it's like to be 280 and 90 pounds and having to deal with a 380-pound guy that's taking good, solid footwork and getting up in your chest and driving you off the ball? You are going to lose that battle. It's just simple as that.
Well, and you talk about the Ravens. As Jackie and I have always talked about, they're one of the toughest teams to defend on defense. Their offense is just so great, and what they're doing to run the football, to throw the ball, to do direct runs, everything they do is very difficult to defend. So it's going to be a really good game.
All right, let's talk about This one here, on paper and the way the team has been playing, you may jump to conclusions, and I think maybe you should. We're talking about the 49ers playing the Bills. The Bills are at home.
Wow.
And
With a bye.
They had a bye week.
Oh, my goodness.
And so they're rested and ready to go.
Oh, that's an easy call,
49ers,
Jackie.
Come
That's
on,
an easy
what do you
call.
mean easy? They got to.
That's
49ers got to do something.
No, they're
beat
not going
up.
to do anything. I mean, even if they come back with Brock Purdy, I mean, they've just been so banged up this year. They're just not on the right page. They're not focused. I just don't think they're all together as a team. And they're going to play the Bills. So coming off a bye week, their Bills are at home. This is a tough game for and you know, you're looking at the schedule for the NFC West moving forward. Okay,
Yeah.
the last 6 games. The easiest schedule is for the Arizona Cardinals. The toughest schedule is the 49ers. So I think that may, if Arizona can play better football with Kyler Murray going down the stretch, they have a shot. The next best team, I think the Rams have a good shot to come through this.
All right, going to get to those
let's
games.
Just jump back
Jackie.
to San Francisco
Yeah.
just for 1 minute, and I particularly like to jump back to them because I hate the San Francisco 49ers with a passion.
You're a former Ram.
They're not going to do
I
nothing.
hate them with a passion.
You heard from me.
But one of the reasons why they're going to lose this game is because of the injuries that they're dealing with. I mean, Brock Purdy's been out. He's been a pretty good quarterback, but he's been out, and we saw what his backup did this past week, which was absolutely nothing. And then arguably the best left tackle in all of pro football, Trent Williams. He was out. And then their best pass rusher. You can't put pressure on the quarterback. You can't stop him from pressuring your quarterback, and your backup quarterback is the one that's getting people in his face.
But Jackie,
that's
how can
the
you
formula
lose
for
one
failure.
player? How can you use one player and be so dismal on defense? Nick Bosa is out, and they're dismal. Only one guy.
Special teams are not doing well.
I personally,
That's not right.
I told you this.
Can't happen.
They've lost 2 really special defensive coordinators over the last 3 years.
D'Amico Ryans is one.
D'Amico Ryans and Salah. These guys were really, really good defensive coordinators, and they used the personnel that they had. And I think they schemed people better than what they're doing right now. The defensive coordinator right there now kind of grew up in their shadows, but he is not producing.
It's a sign of the times, Michael. You get really good, and then everybody disappears. And years ago, the loyalty. I mean, Vince Lombardi had his coaches around for years. I mean, Hank Stram. His coaches weren't
got some
moving
names
back and
going
forth all over the place.
They stayed.
I mean, Chuck Noll. I mean, these guys. I mean, we had Lionel Taylor and Bud Carson come to the Rams. I mean, thank God we had those
Dan
two guys.
Radakovich.
Yeah.
John Arnett. Just thought I'd throw that in. So we got the Browns. They are on the road playing the Bronco. Our producer Corey Moreno gets and you like Bo
Denver.
Nix as well too. You
I do
love
like
it.
Bo Nix, and
Tell
I
us,
think
Vince.
with Sean Payton's doing a great job. Both teams won last week, and the Browns with their pass rush, they're second to none, and that can pose a little bit of a problem. But I think Sean Payton will scheme up an offensive scheme. Bo Nix is a rookie quarterback, probably the first rookie quarterback ever to lead the Broncos into the playoffs in the history of this team. He's throwing good in the last 3 weeks. He hasn't thrown an interception. He's thrown 8 touchdowns. So, I mean, he's getting hot at the right time. He's learning. He's improving each week. And people are responding.
If there's a
he's got great
snowstorm,
leadership.
watch out for those Browns. That's all I got to say.
But they're playing in Denver.
I
so
know
I
that.
watch
Well,
out.
that's what I'm saying. Yes, Jackie
things,
Slater.
One of the things that I have seen over the years, Vince, and I'm talking about all the way back to 1976 until today, is matchups that don't favor you in the line of scrimmage can totally destroy your opportunity to win games. Totally destroy them. Right now, the left tackle for the Denver Broncos, his name is Garrett Bowles. He's a very highly touted guy. In fact, I worked with him. I worked with Garrett Bowles a number of years ago when he came into the league. He's going to be going against Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett, in my opinion, from what I have seen of him, just this year, last year, looking at him closely, has got to be one of the most dominant physical specimens in all of pro football. He's coming off the edge. He's about 6'4", 6'5", right in there, 261, almost as heavy as I was as a rookie offensive tackle coming in the league, and he's as fast as anybody on the field.
Did you see him last week
That's
against
what I'm
Russell
talking
Wilson?
about. That's what I'm talking about right now.
Mike, he came out of nowhere. And it was like a flash in front of the screen.
The
And
ground
that's
that he
Myles
closed.
Garrett hitting the quarterback.
The ground that he closed to get to the quarterback.
I've never seen
it was
anybody
over
run that
5 or
fast.
6 yards. It seemed like he covered it in 2 steps. He was getting there so fast. He's
Watch
an
out.
amazing
Yeah, watch out for
talent. And if they don't give their left tackle some help, that young quarterback is going to have a miserable day.
Well, I think Sean Payton knows that.
Vince Ferragamo, game you've been wanting to talk about for the entire show. Rams and the Saints. Saints also rested up. They had a victory. They had a bye week. The Rams have to win here. They need to have a win to have a shot.
Well, Jackie showed me a stat that came out. The last time the Rams were 5-6 was last year, and they ended up the season 10-7. So that means they're going to win last 5 out of 6 games.
Wow.
Jackie and I are a little optimistic.
Yeah,
I think the Rams have always played well against the Saints. I don't think the Saints pose an immediate problem for the Rams, and I think that if they can't run the football, the Saints, they're going to lose the game. So I like the Rams in this match.
Jackie Slater.
And I can tell you this: there was something about leaving Los Angeles. You got to remember, in the NFC West, it used to be the Rams, the Falcons, the Saints, and the 49ers.
Yes.
And so we went to New Orleans once a year, every year, until they changed that around. What about 8 years ago, something like that? And leaving L.A. and going down to New Orleans is an unbelievable trip. The guys get to see a lot of history. They get to feel like they're in a different country, actually. It's so unique down
Bourbon Street.
You get to go down to Bourbon Street, walk
That's
down on Bourbon Street, and see what's going on down there. Just kind of, it's a unique place to go and play. And then you go over to the dome over there, and you realize, hey, this is what we came here to do. And usually, over the years anyway, we would put it on the Saints down there pretty good. It was just a combination of the magic of going there, and regardless of how good they were, we just played some of our best football.
All right.
In fact, Flipper Anderson, Vince.
Oh, yeah, I remember
He
that
has
game.
the NFL record for most receiving yards in a game, over 380 yards or something like that.
Flipper,
crazy number.
Flipper Anderson
From UCLA.
UCLA, yeah. All right, now this next game, we've done a lot for this team to try to help them out. We've gotten rid of coaches. First off, brought in a new quarterback, gotten rid of coaches, changed players, brought in receivers for it. They're on a bye from last week. We're talking about the New York Jets. They're at home, and they got to face the Seahawks. What do you think on this one? Jackie, start with you.
Well, I feel badly for their quarterback. I mean,
the Jets quarterback, Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, I was just reading where he said that he is going to play next year. He hasn't decided where he's going to go, but he's leaning toward returning to the Jets. And then when he said that, I thought to myself,
will they have him? That's the big question. Do they want him?
Well, I mean, it's just been a dismal failure, his being there. I mean, and for a lot of reasons. It's not all him, that's for sure. But it's just.
Well, it can't be the coach. It can't be the receivers.
So you're going to have to go with Seattle maybe.
There's something about what's going on in New York right now that just isn't working with the football teams back there.
And there's
Vince,
one last
what do you
game,
think?
though.
You're going with Seattle?
I'll go Seattle, too, in that game.
All right, now we get into the Cardinals. You talked about it. Arizona Cardinals playing the Vikings. Vikings are at home. What do you think, Vince?
Well, the way Kyler Murray played last week, I don't see the Cardinals beating the Vikings, especially with the Vikings being at home. But the other game I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, you're talking about the Bears and the Lions?
Yeah, the Bears and
you
the Lions.
Want to really get into that game?
Because, Jared Ruiz, our analyst.
You got about a minute and a half to talk about this, less than that.
He really likes Detroit and Jamar Gibbs in this game.
Everybody likes Detroit in this one.
This is the guy. So if he's on your fantasy football team, this is the guy.
Who's the guy?
Team. Jamar Gibbs.
So you got it, everybody. That's what we're looking for.
The running back. Yeah, he
never
can run.
mentioned the 5 studs up front that's blocking for him, Vince.
Is that right?
That's true. I mean,
right?
They're dominant everywhere, Jackie. No, I have to agree with you because they got
He's
the. I didn't even mention Jared Goff.
Did he not tell
I didn't mention Jared Goff.
Did he not tell you when he went to Canada the worst thing that happened to him was not having a good offensive line? Did he say that?
Is that what he said? All right, hang on. I got to protect you guys and block you a little bit here. We got to take one more break when we come back. So hold all the comments and questions. It's On Point Live. Vince Ferragamo, Jackie Slater. I'm Michael Horn. Check us out on Instagram, on.point.live. Also, our YouTube channel, On Point Live with Vince and Jackie. And, of course, onpointlive.net. We'll be right back. On Point Live, I'm Michael Horn with Vince Ferragamo and Jackie Slater. You got a stat here for us, Jackie. What you got here?
Well, 40 years ago,
Yeah.
Eric Dickerson was in his second NFL season.
Mm-hmm.
And in his second NFL season, he set the single-season rushing record. It was 2,105 yards. And
How do you know that?
You know why I know it was 2,105 yards? Because he gave us all a gold ring with those numbers right on top
Whoa.
of it. And I've had that ring for 40 years. And I don't know how many backs have come into the National Football Leagues over those last 40 years, but that record is still in place.
Still in place.
And even though Saquon Barkley has to have 119 yards rushing, I have a feeling that record is still going to be standing at the end of the season.
Really? Well,
and
Vince,
I'm
your
going to call
thoughts?
Eric Dickerson, and he and I are going to have a glass of wine.
Maybe
over
have him on the
phone.
show here. Let's get him on the show.
Yeah, he'd love to come
40
in.
years that record has stood up,
Yeah.
and that's going through 32 teams. And the average life of a running back is, 3-4 years? That's like 350 running backs.
Something
They can't
else.
That's a
break it.
lot of running backs.
They can't break that record. But, 119 yards per game is a lot of yards. But playing behind that Eagle offensive line, Jackie, you mentioned it's possible, but for for preservation's sake, I would say it's going to be tough. I would hope that he doesn't really break Eric's run, because I play with Eric too, and Eric's is such a phenom and Hall of Famer. But so Saquon Barkley has that same ability. So it's a running league now.
It is.
As much as we love the forward pass,
turning back to a running league.
It's starting to. Well, it's what it does, Jackie.
Everybody want to chuck the ball all over the field.
You don't
right
have
now.
to throw, Mike. You don't have to throw the ball 50 times a game. When they started opening up offenses, that's what they felt they had to do. But now you can run the football, 25, 35 times a game, and throw the ball 30 times a game.
Yeah.
That's balance.
Here's
You gotta
another
have
one for
balance.
you. Best looking quarterback that owns a winery. That one's going to stand the test of time. Vince Ferragamo.
Vinny.
Best looking back that has a cheese display in his home, Jackie Slater, ladies and gentlemen. That's our show. If you missed anything, please go to our website, onpointlive.net, onpointlive.net. Follow us on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to On Point Live with Vince and Jackie. We're here every week at this time. Check it out, on.point.live on Instagram. And check out our sponsor, harmonycheese.com. Christmas time coming up. Harmony, Harmoy, harmonycheese.com. I'm Michael Horn for Vince Ferragamo, Jackie Slater.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.